Before we begin, thank you very much to Disciple of Magnus for joining my Patreon campaign. Thank you very much for the assistance in keeping this channel afloat, keeping the daily content coming. Deeply appreciated. And if you cannot pitch in on Patreon, I understand not everyone's got a free dollar a month to pitch in, which is true these days. I do not blame you. Remember, you can hit like, you can subscribe to the channel, you can leave a comment, share a video you think a friend will like. All that helps me for free. Or you can leave the YouTube ads whitelisted. That also helps me for free. Okay, cheap plugging aside, time for another cheap plug. This is a Patreon request. So typically, this is an area I don't normally go to anymore because, frankly, my thoughts and feelings for Botcon have dwindled significantly. I wasn't a fan of the last few years of that convention's official life, and I really am not happy with how the current Botcon exists. However, a request is a request, and this one is at least an interesting one. So, I'm being tasked with looking at what would have been the Botcon 2017 exclusive set, which is a lot of Titans Return molds, a toy line I am very known to be very, very in love with. And this was shown off completely in the form of some actually really well done custom figures that were shown off at the unofficial convention since. So yeah, we can look at it, we can give my thoughts, because honestly, like, this is a little bit of a clever set. So this is Action on Hydrus 4, would have been the title of the box set and the set itself, and it's all Action Master based. And frankly, when I look at some of the Botcon themes of the past, where it's like Most Wanted, where it's just 5 random villains, including a made-up Megatron, when I look at Pirates versus Knights, I look at like really lame ideas for sets, and then I look at this set and go, this actually would have tickled collectors. If you had thought to do this earlier, this would have really been fun for collectors. I think they hit on the idea here because they can kind of say, well, the headmaster portions are like the actual like Nebulon charged transformer who cannot transform. They are limited to just becoming a head, and everyone else here is just kind of running off of that idea. We're like, they're all big transtectors basically. Okay, that would have been fun. But let's take a look at the set itself just to see how good the sets came out, the quality of it. And the first one is Action Master Optimus Prime. And in one hand, I can appreciate the novelty of this one. I really, really do not like this one because it just does not feel like a convention exclusive. Even back in 2017, this would have felt like, a Toys R Us or Target exclusive or an Amazon exclusive. This does not feel like something I would pay super premium price for. This just feels a little hollow, which is unfortunate because like getting a G2 idea like this would have been fun. Or not G2, but Action Master, because it does not get enough attention. Yeah, this one just doesn't feel special enough. It just feels like a slightly modified Optimus Prime. It feels weak. And to kind of go off of like the idea of like these are all big Action Masters. The headmasters for like the spare, like it does come with a spare headmaster, which is Rad, who is an Action Master and only an Action Master. So okay, that's kind of neat. That kind of works. Let's see. Yeah, this one just lame. I don't like this one. But we have this one, Skyfall, based on based on a Highbrow's mold. Okay, this one, okay. This one is actually not bad. I mean, the color scheme on Skyfall is not bad. It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit weird, but it stands out as an Autobot because it's very atypical color scheme for an Autobot. And yeah, that's not a bad mold. So like, I don't mind that idea at all. Yeah, this one's okay. This one's okay. I mean, not the most exciting of Action Masters. Admittedly, there's only a few that I would be like really gunning for. But this one is not bad. It's not a bad idea. So I will give the credit. This one I would actually go for. This is not a bad one. We're all in the box set, by the way. Like, this is number 2 of the 5 that would be in the box set. And that is followed by Sprocket, based on the Trigger Happy mold. I get so much flack because I don't give the Trigger Happy mold enough credit. Yes, it's a very good mold. Titan's Return did a lot of very good molds. So sue me if I don't have quite the preferences of everybody else. I love it in this color scheme, though. Like, color scheme is basic, you know, the black, white, and then the orange popping through, but you don't need it to be, like, super weird or complex. Sometimes simple just works, and this works really, really well. You know, like, and yeah, like, I'm in total approval of this one. It's good to note that a lot of these are reusing heads, you know, different faces and heads for different headmasters that already exist. So, you know, like, you can see here, like, the body, like, the little headmaster is supposed to be a tiny version of Sprocket, you know, and it's using the Japanese Weird Wolf head, you know, because we had a lot of different heads to go around. That's one reason why it's kind of a shame that this Botcon set didn't happen, is because there's so many Titan Master heads floating around from this year. You aren't limited by, like, sculpt on the head and how many, like, retools you have budget for. You could literally just jump around until you find a head that's close enough and use that instead. Save the retool budget for more intensive things, which they did. We'll get to that. All right, here's a crazy one. Sixshot, Titans Return Sixshot redone into Action Master Megatron. And this one including both 2 Titan Masters representing Megatron and Devastator. Because in the old box art of Megatron's Action Master tank toy, it's him and Devastator who are in the driver's seats at the same size. Don't try to make sense of Action Masters. That's kind of a clever idea, so both of them can ride on the big tank mode. But at the same time, this feels like it's pushing it. Like, okay, so let's go on the idea that, like, the idea of the set is that the Action Masters are actually the heads, and these are just gigantic Transformers that they are combining with. That does make this work, but it also feels super weird seeing Action Master Megatron be a 6-changer. Also, box sets always avoided the, like, I mean, and, like, really, like, Botcon sets in general avoided leader scale toys. They were just too big and too expensive to use. But we did see that over the years, Botcon started pushing the budget more and more. You know, we got to the point where they produced an Pretender shell all on their own. Okay, cool. So at least they were trying. It's a goofy concept. I definitely like it better than the Optimus because this one's not using an existing Megatron mold. It just feels weird that an Action Master transforms so much. That's all. And then the final one in the box set would have been Gut Cruncher. This would have been an expensive box set with 2 Voyagers, a Leader, and 2 Deluxes. But actually, like, out of the box set, this is my favorite one. This is absolutely my favorite one. Gut Cruncher is a design I actually really like, and I'm surprised they have not brought it back more, you know, because it really feels sometimes as simple as just, like, put Wheeljack's head on any Warpath body, you're done. Or any tank transformer for that matter, you're done. Yeah, it's a neat figure. I have no idea if they could have actually pulled off the colors in the vehicle mode because it's such a huge color shift from the robot. But then again, Blitzwing's kind of good at that. But yeah, like, making that his Action Master vehicle colors is, like, that's a genius idea. That's a really cool idea. Even the tank gives me some vibes of, like, one of the Action Master, or, like, one of the Micromaster tanks. You know, like, there's a lot going into this one. Yeah, this would be my favorite. This is one that I would absolutely have gone for, however they ended up doing it. Okay, let's move into souvenir sets now, because they did a bunch of, you know, they had a bunch of these presumed as well. Double Dealer. Now, this is taking advantage of the Titan Master gimmick in a way I wish they had done more. So rather than 2 Power Masters, he comes with 2 Headmasters. One's just a straight up repaint, and the other one is extensively retooled into a completely fresh idea. And I actually really like this. This actually is really, really cool. Now, Double Dealer without the multiple modes, without the Beast mode, that's a little bit disappointing. It's a Botcon set. The homages are kind of crammed in there. We kind of acknowledge that. But for the most part, I do like this concept. For the most part, I like this idea. And the idea that like we would have enough budget kicking around to like redo, basically make our own Titan Master. Not bad, not bad. It's weird, but it's not a bad idea. Here's one starting off something that they never really got to do, and that is a something they titled Botcon Heritage, which was basically to go back and redo old Botcon toys. We'd only previously seen that with Pack Rat and brain, exhausted, long day. Breakdown, G2 Breakdown. They got to go back and redo. So here's Onyx Primal, which, yeah, like, I'm shocked they didn't go for this. I'm shocked. I'm shocked even like the normal Beast Wars version was a Japanese only release. This seemed like an easy thing. And we have Skullcruncher right there. Where's my Megatron? That should have been an easy thing. That little headmaster does not count. Give me a dedicated body. I like this idea a lot, though. I mean, aside from the fact that, it's just, I don't mind the mold. Obviously, Time doesn't like the mold. But it's a fun idea. And I love the idea of going back and redoing old Botcon toys. And it makes all the sense in the world. So, yeah, I would have been big on this. Also, like, the bigger toy kind of lets them push the whole, like, he's supposed to be Batman thing. Which is kind of funny to me. Next on the list is the one I'm pretty sure this is why you wanted me to actually cover this. They were going to do a hot shot. They were going to do a hot shot for the Unicron Trilogy anniversary. The fun part here is that the Titan Master is supposed to be Alexis. Which she's not body shaming, but she's definitely put on a few pounds. I think it's mostly the metal. But the Jolt is also there, because remember, like, Jolt in was it Titan's Return? I think of Jolt, like, had the there was like the legend scales where one of them had a helicopter target master. That makes a lot of sense. Redone from that mold. Weirdly enough, I think Energon would have worked better. Just because Energon also had that big car hood hanging off of his back. So you could have had a little bit of synergy with that. But honestly, the toy is fine. I think Hotshot's a little forced in with the painted stripes over the sculpted details to get his harness look. But honestly, yeah, this would have been the best transforming Hotshot toy they ever did. Because that's already a good mold. I know, this one's amusing. I'm not going to hate on it because it never came out. It's not official. We don't know how it really turned out. But I'm fine with it. So let's do another leader. Man, this year would have had all of the budget. It is a Titan's Return Energon Galvatron made from the Sky Shadow mold. Now, this is clever because that means that the tank portion of Energon Megatron was represented, since that's what the lower legs would have been. They wouldn't have been the right color, but I like that the spirit of them is there. And then the jet mode is actually not far off from like the big flying weapon platform that Energon Megatron transformed into. This is actually a pretty sound idea. I actually kind of like this one. Now, personally, I think if you were really going to do this, It should have been the Diatlas version that was done in Japan, but frankly, I'm not entirely sure that version of the mold was even available at the time. All I'm saying is, I think that one would have been cooler. Simple as that, that one would have been cooler. But it's not bad looking. And I do see what they're going for there with the shoulder guns. So, like, I guess that's one of the reasons why that mold version of the mold would have been done. You got a lot. There's a lot of different versions. There's a lot of different ideas you could have done with that. And then there was the troop builder for the year, which included repaints and slash retools of the Data Slug Legends class toy. And starting with Rosanna, who looks pretty good. White and pink. I mean, hard to do that wrong. Enemy, the weird, like the weird half brother of Rumble and Frenzy. And then flip sides are Treacherous Cassette, giving them all a secondary run, especially considering, okay, so like this is the Rumble retool that Hasbro did, but it is the rewind mold. But yeah, giving it all of these runs, I think, is actually a pretty clever idea. I would have been intrigued by this one. And I'm yawning a lot, and I apologize for that. It's been a busy day. Today was Final Fantasy launch day, which is any card launch day is going to be exhausting. I'll work through it. All right. What was next on the list? Where did I leave off? Okay, so let's get into something else. Remember they were doing, in the late days of Botcon, they were doing those Creon packs? Well, they wanted to continue something in the style of that, but for Titan's Return, which would mean the next thing to do would have been these guys. I guess if we're dedicating a Botcon to like the most neglected of Transformer genres, we might as well get the second most neglected in there as well. This is kind of neat, just to kind of see like the mini pretenders, because you can recognize them. You got Starscream, Jazz, Bumblebee, Crossblades, Metalhawk, Vroom on the end. It's kind of neat. It's kind of neat to see them in super tiny form like that. And like flipping the script where like now the shell is this tiny robot that will now fit onto a larger figure. It's a cute way of doing it. And the Titan Master gimmickry across all the Titan's Return toys has such play value to it that including more heads to really like push that is actually a really good idea. Like, I could imagine this would have been way more popular than the Creon sets, just because this works and interplays so well with the rest of the exclusives. See, we have the custom class figure, which would have been Rumbler, based off of the Trigger Happy mold. We've thrown in a couple of the Arms Microns in there. This one's not bad. This one is not bad. It's not the most exciting of the figures, but for a custom class, it's actually not a bad choice because you got this like normal base color with the beige, but also these super brights with the orange and green. That's gonna let a beginner have a lot of there's like a lot of variance between what they're doing. The contrast is gonna let them follow what they're doing a lot easier. So I think that's actually a pretty good idea, honestly. Let's see. And then we had the attendee figure, which was going to be Dion. Dion is just always going to be a cup retool. That's just his fate at this point. Also, running tally of all the figures who were both Dion and Orion packs and cup. Kind of like they've become this weird like Seeker version of ancient Autobots. It's funny to me. There's almost a story there in where like Cup, Dion, and Orion Pax were all like similar to like Bumblebee and Starscream, just like generic bodies of Cybertron. We just never got to see it. It's not bad for what it is. It's another Dion. They all tend to kind of be the same. It's always cool to see him. Forgotten boy that he is. And then there's a few other concepts that didn't quite make the list of the ones they were going to do, but they are worth noting. So Armada Jetfire, another one of the Unicron Trilogy anniversary toys they would have posted out. I actually think this is really good. I actually think this is really, really good. I like how it looks. The body shape is correct. Like, he's not as dumpy. I will say that, but I do like it. I like it a lot. See, we have a few that are very hard. Like, there aren't good photos of these that I could find. So the other two are on the far right that you see. One is DevCon, made from the Brainstorm mold. I'm not as big on that because, like, DevCon has such a big, like, extreme, like, spaceship design to him, and then Brainstorm is, very much jet. He's a jet, and I don't think that meshes well. Also, once again, you're going, like, a blue character into a blue character, so the mold doesn't feel as fresh. Yeah, so I'm not big on that one. That one kind of leaves me cold. And then Turbomaster, redone from Highbrow. This is hilarious. So for those who do not know, Turbomaster is a pretender elite. Not pretender, Action Master Elite. Long day. Action Master Elite from the UK. And for whatever reason, his body was designed, or at the very least his torso and head were designed to look like G1 Bruticus. Except he was just multiple shades of purple for a color scheme. It was weird. It was weird. And he did turn into this, like VTOL looking ship. So, like, it's not a bad idea to redo him from Highbrow. It's a hysterical homage is what it is. If they had a brand new head to cement it, that would be even better. Yeah, I think that's one of the more fun ones here. And one of the ones that I'm a little bit more upset that we missed out on, because it is such a goofy, fun idea. Yeah, it is also worth noting that the DevCon figure would have been accompanied by Slizardo, which was the alien that he teamed up with at the end of that episode. So that at least would have been a little clever homage and throw-in, but beyond that, still cold on it. And you also get a set of the only human G.I. Joe characters, which is Springer, Ultra Magnus, and Victor Drath to complete the cast from that episode. And they all look fine. They all look like they were supposed to. So that would have been a really cool thing to be able to increase, because it's one of those weird neglected standout things for Transformers. Like, here's the episode where they're human. Everyone remembers this one. Where are the toys of it? Not that. Somewhere. I'm sure. I told Bob to do them. I think Bob slacked off on it. But there we go. That's just like running thoughts on what would have been the Botcon 2017 set. There's some weird ones in there, but that's probably because I am a little bit cold to Action Masters in general, so a lot of the characters kind of fall flat on me. But I do appreciate the effort to get them in, and I actually do kind of like the idea of, like, using the Titan Masters to represent, like, the real Transformer who can no longer transform into a vehicle, so they have to transform into a head instead. That's a clever way of working that in and making the Titan Masters make a little bit more sense for the particular homage. And yeah, there's some Unicron Trilogy stuff in there. I thought that was actually clever, better fitting than I thought. A couple bangers in there too, like that, like that Gut Cruncher. I would take that Gut Cruncher. If they could have pulled off that jet turning into that robot, easy buy. But that's just the thoughts. So, to the requester, I hope that satisfies the curiosity. And as always, thank you everyone for watching. I will see you next time.
Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.